Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Universal Lens. I am John Emilio along with Henry Belcher and Anthony Lisi. And we are back for another lovely episode. Hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody had a week. Hope everybody...
We did.
Everybody had a...
Great week.
Out there. Hope you all had a nice week. Enjoying the beautiful weather if you're up here in the Northeast.
Great week.
It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful up here. To all our Floridian watchers, if there are any.
Sorry.
Our hearts go out to you guys. Yeah, Georgia, Carolina, everybody. Our hearts go out to you guys. Just stay the course. Things could be rebuilt.
Yep.
And practice a lot. If you practice this, it will help you definitely navigate through it with a lot less stress than you would think.
If you're dealing with insurance companies, mindfulness.
If you're dealing
I've been in the middle of a lot of those search and rescue sites. I feel terrible for those people. I mean, it just really, you talk about some of their houses just swept away.
Yeah, no, it's a bad one. It's a bad one.
Terrible.
Yeah. So our hearts definitely go out to everybody there. Thoughts and prayers, everybody, in case anybody is listening.
Yeah.
So that said,
how's
everybody doing?
Doing all right. Doing good.
Doing good.
Doing good. You're lying through your eyes.
No, you're not.
No, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I know.
It's funny because before you turned on the mic, we were about to get into something, and you're like, no, let's record this.
Well, because you guys had an episode before an episode again.
Yeah, the mini.
I was kind of catching up with them a little bit.
No, not the catching up part. I was talking about the other stuff with the the inner Hulks.
Oh well, that was a mini episode.
John looks at us like we're some kind of Neanderthals.
No, I did not look at you like you're a Neanderthal.
I mean, admittedly,
Well, I guess it is a little Neanderthalish.
You just got to know that about you. You know what I mean? That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
We were talking about, let's not keep them on the hook here. We were just talking a little bit about how there were some situations where you black out and do things you wouldn't normally do. And I'm not talking about the drunk blackout. I'm talking about anger blackout, where either you could try to hurt somebody or swing on somebody.
Sure. Or even if
it's happened to me a lot of times, but it's happened to Henry also. But we were just saying it's not one of those things that we like about ourselves. It's one of those things we kind of work on at all times. Although
a scary personality trait that we keep locked in the closet.
It is, but the real gem of it is to be able to have that under control. It's not the aggression; it's to have that aggression and be able to harness it. And that's what it really comes down to, I think, because these uncontrollable emotions can send you off in any direction.
You know what? I will say this. Perhaps I'm speaking to you from a, what do you call? Oh my God, my vocabulary sucks. Mature. From an immature point of view.
Tough word.
From an immature point of view. Almost like if I look back and say, well, why do you say you have this? Well, because I know my historical pattern.
Sure.
Right. And based on my historical pattern, believe me, I can go there, and it's a very nasty place. I don't want to go there ever. And it's true what you said. Well, once you're aware, I could put you in that situation, and perhaps your awareness will win the day because you're aware. You have awareness, so you might go up to the line because the forces of the situation brought you to that line, the breaking point.
But the real question is that at that point you can see the line. What happens?
Yes.
What happens when you get to the line
that's
so
the
close
thing,
that you just don't? There's no line.
Well, I think if you get that close to the line, you're gonna make a decision there, and you're not gonna react. I think you're gonna respond versus react. I think.
Yes,
almost positive. Again, I got to be
often.
I can
tell you from somebody who's trained, it's more often and more consistently it happens, and you're able to use those abilities of mindfulness and see yourself starting to get angry. And I'm not talking about instinctively where you need to defend yourself. I'm talking about the more that happens to you, and you can control it and see it coming, and it becomes a technique.
Yeah,
and it's natural. You won't lose yourself
you won't go to that crazy place
because it's practiced, just like mindfulness. It's the same thing over and over and over. You practice it. But for me, it was an everyday kind of thing. So.
Perhaps from an immaturity level.
Unfortunately, it was.
I guess from an immaturity level, like if I look back, I'm talking about a different person. I'm talking about me.
Well, see, I think that makes you more mature. The fact that you can see the difference between the two.
Perhaps, yeah.
The immaturity is being immature and not realizing you're immature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's more of a growth thing that you're doing. Honestly,
perhaps you're right all along in that aspect. Oh, Steph.
What'd you do, was that a Buddha pose? Did you give one of these just
Spoiler alert.
That was great. You fucking did a Buddha pose.
He's only right when the mics are on. Unless these mics are off.
But it's when you guys were talking before, and I totally understand what you're both saying about, somebody pushing you to the point of, where the anger or the aggression becomes so infuriating, so hot, so intense that you act without any conscious awareness behind it. And by the way, let's just preface: these guys have not gone on and they haven't gone out and kicked anybody's ass.
Not yet,
and not lately.
Got some problems? Let's go.
But even that, if awareness isn't something like it's a way of life.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just something you pull out and use it once in a while. Because if you do that, you never grasp it, and it never really gets to show its fruits in your life completely. So it's a way of life, which means everything. It washes over everything in your life. So if you're an aware person, truly are an aware person. Now, not to say that whoever this person is, who's poking and prodding, like you poke the bear. A bear doesn't realize that a bear is going to react. A bear is going to come after you. But if you poke and prod me, now there's ways to tell somebody, hey, what the F, enough.
Yeah.
We're done, right? This is done. Like you're acting like an immature child. I'm good. Stop. That's not being aware. That's being aware, speaking your mind, and holding somebody at bay.
Yeah, don't give them any more energy.
Yes. But if we're at the point where I see the anger coming and there I go, okay, so then maybe you practice awareness, but are you really are you really an aware person? Because remember we always say if you're truly aware, you never need to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because it means you understand it's all the time, anytime, every day, 24/7, 365. It's not a part-time kind 100%. Of thing. But there are people who use it as a part-time kind of thing, and good for them, because in that part-time it works and it helps them navigate things, and that's phenomenal. But if it's not something that you use, if it's something, I should say, that you use constantly, or something that you've adopted, that's probably a better word, adopted to be part of your life, you're going to see it coming. And you might even get a little, I was telling to you, right? I said, your voice might even elevate. But as your voice elevates, now you become really aware that my voice is elevating, right? So I'm getting somewhere maybe I don't want to be. And all of a sudden, you pull your voice back down. Yeah. That's somebody. Now, we're all human beings, so nobody is going to be void of that emotion. I don't care. I don't care if you're a Katol, if you're a Guru, Jesus Christ. I don't care who you are. No, if you're a human being, you're not going to be void of that emotion of anger. You just won't.
But how does the awareness work where Henry was talking about, where you don't, the emotion is so quick to come on that you don't have, there's no time for awareness.
True.
Because holy shit, like, it's like walking in and your wife's with another guy in your bedroom or something, that would instantly, there's no time.
The emotion comes up very quick, because you weren't in an aware state when it came up on you. Meaning you were locked into your mind in La La Land. You were not paying attention to what was going on in your mind. You were your mind. And now, boom, whoa, what the fuck?
But how does that apply to like a door swinging open? It's instant.
The door swinging open, an object swinging open and hitting you?
No. I mean, you walk in on something, like I said, an affair or something like that. Something that would be like, you're whistling up the stairs with roses for your wife, and you open the door,
and then, she's with Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bobby the plumber.
Bobby the plumber.
You know what I mean? And instantly,
thanks for cleaning your pipes, Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Instantly, it's So I don't care how mindful you are. That just came on.
So it did come on, and as you see it, if you are paying attention, you will see the emotion come up. And you will realize, here I have a choice, because that's all it's all about. It's about a choice. Here I have a choice, and by the way, it's you're not having a dialogue for 40 seconds in your mind. It's quick,
split second.
Here I have a choice. Do I choose to go unconscious, or do I choose to stay here? I could stare at it.
But it's a choice.
It's a choice. I could stare at it. It's always, it's why I always say, it's always, you don't realize if it's a choice. The only time you realize it's not, the only time you say it wasn't a choice is because you had no awareness when it was happening at all.
Or if Bobby unmounted my wife and ran at me with a pipe.
You want to know who's going to be unconscious? It's Bobby. Bobby the plumber's going to be unconscious.
And ran at me. You know what I mean? Like he ran at me with a pipe. You know?
That's physical. That's somebody coming after you with physical aggression.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's time out. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about you see something or somebody says something to you and it takes you to the point of.
Yeah.
No. Because that's important.
Maybe they go, Henry, come on in. There's plenty of room.
No, bro.
I'm good. Thanks. I'm gonna leave.
There's plenty of situations.
You guys clean up when you're done.
Make my bed before. Pay some bills before you leave, will you?
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice.
Then it's okay.
That would be nice. But there are plenty of situations where it's not a physical thing. It's something you see, something that happens, triggers you. Mm-hmm. Somebody says something to you, somebody from your past, somebody who's triggered you in the past says something to you. You have a choice. Only time you don't have a choice is if you're not aware of your actions at all. In zero awareness, you have no choice. Now you're running on reaction, not response.
Yep.
But if you have that awareness, there's a choice. Now, what I said to you before, if you choose knowing that you have this defect or trait or whatever it might be, issue, something you're dealing with, right? If you know you have this anger issue, and I'm not saying they do, we're just talking in general. If you know you have this anger issue and you act on it anyway, so now you've consciously acted unconsciously.
Yes, I know.
Right? You've said, I know I'm going to do, like, it's like saying, I'm on a diet, but I know I'm going to have the cookie because I want the cookie. So I know that I shouldn't have the cookie, but I'm choosing to have it anyway, right? Big difference. I get it. But it's on a smaller scale. On a larger scale, sure, ramifications are different, everything, like the whole scenario changes, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Are you making that choice? The only thing is there's no anger when you're going to have a cookie. It actually feels nice, right? You see your wife in bed with somebody.
Well,
it's not a cookie.
Why
It doesn't feel
why'd
nice.
you point at me?
I'm not going to say who was in my wife's bedroom last night.
Where were you, John, last night?
There can also be anger with that cookie. There could also be anger with the cookie because you're pissed at yourself for eating that cookie.
I was going to say that, but I was going to let him finish the thought.
I don't know if people are going to, I mean, you can't beat the shit out of the cookie, I guess, if you wanted to.
Because I've been there when you're like,
yes,
right after you shove a yodel down your face.
I think it's a different level. Agreed, true, 100%. I think it's a different level of.
100%. Yeah.
I don't know if we would create, somebody triggering.
Yeah, you're about to kill somebody, or
have a cookie. So yeah, there's definitely, it's a choice you make, and and it's never an excuse to say, well, that person wasn't aware, so they didn't know what they're doing.
Right.
And by the way, a lot of spiritual teachers make that, not argument, but they make that point to say, even people who commit crimes at times, they're not aware of what they're doing. They're reacting. They're not responding. They have zero awareness to know what their actions are. Yeah. They believe this is how things are. There's no higher intelligence. There's no consciousness. There's no awareness. There's no watching the mind, watching the thoughts. There's no watching emotions. They're just, this is what my mind says. This is what we do. Now we live in a world of law and order for a reason, to avoid chaos. So those people must, it's very important that they pay for their crimes. They do whatever they have to do, and they go to jail or whatever they have to do, right? Yeah, depending on the crime.
Am I mistaken or not? I mean, you probably know more. Like the law has a leniency more on somebody that has a crime of passion. In other words, I walked in, this guy's doing my wife, and
kill somebody.
There is a big difference with intent.
Instead of me,
it's intent, meaning
following him.
Yeah, he's right. Like, when he just said with intent,
it's intent.
I knew I was going there.
So if you know you're going to go home, let's say, and God forbid, kill your wife, that's different than walking in on her with somebody. Then boom, you get into a tussle and start killing everybody. That's completely different. The planning
people
of
are
it,
still dead.
The planning of it would make it like a first degree murder. Right.
So they kind of there's a leniency to it.
Intent is a big deal.
Yeah, legally speaking, but at the end of the day, you still.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? In life, intent is a big deal with anything.
But you know what intent is? It's choice.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a good word. I like it. Intent.
Well, that's why we used to say. We used to say as a leader or a supervisor, intent is everything. So somebody makes a mistake of the mind, we can fix that. We can retrain you. We can teach you how to do it better. But a mistake of the heart, meaning you did it, you knew you were doing it, and you wanted to do it, that's different. That deserves punishment.
You knew there were two roads.
Exactly.
And you
that's
chose
the point.
that road.
Yes, that's the point. Or if, like, let's just say you made a mistake. A mistake is a mistake of the mind. It happens to everybody. Everybody makes mistakes. Right. You go in, you go do something with your heart, knowing you're doing something wrong. That is.
I got scared. I pulled out my weapon. You should not have pulled out your weapon because you knew. But I felt this. I know, but by you pulling out your weapon, you aggravated the situation.
And you know, the funny thing is, we used to say in the police department, a good shooting is usually one where you don't make the decision to pull the trigger. It's instinctive. You feel your life is in such danger that you're pulling out your weapon and firing it so fast that it wasn't a clean, should I shoot, shouldn't I shoot? Because if you come up to those two roads like that, and then you're making the decision, it's a difference. Yeah. It's different than reacting.
No,
it's just completely
totally get it. No, and you know what happens?
There's no choice there with the reaction.
When you're being poked and prodded, you know, you really gotta anchor down on mindfulness more than ever. Because that's when you need it.
Just realize that you're the aware person. Maybe that person's not. Yeah. That person's not aware. How do I expect them to react any differently?
Yeah, no, actually, kind of like before you even turn on the cameras, I think when somebody's aware, you have it. It's either you have it or you don't have it. Either you know what it feels like and you know what it is to be aware, or you don't.
Or you're unconscious. Yeah, it means you're just in the story of your mind.
Once you're aware, no matter the level, again, barring an immediate personal aggression, like
somebody attacks you, sure.
Mm-hmm. Then you have the ability to make a choice.
Yeah. You do. You're right. I think you're 100% right.
Respond instead of react.
That's the difference. Somebody comes out of a door.
Chapter in the book. It's funny.
Somebody comes out of a door with a knife and you react and shoot him is different than you making a choice.
Right.
You having time to make that choice. Right. Whether it be 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you still have a choice.
Yeah, I agree.
You do?
What did you want to do? Go to the page?
No,
your chest came out like a peacock for a second.
No, I stretched my back out.
You did a lat spread.
No, you got.
Did somebody mention a paragraph in my book?
I gotta lean. Yeah. I lean like this a lot.
Did you just do an Atlas pose? Did you just give one of these?
No, that's one of these.
He did a lat spread.
Yeah, a little lat spread. It just so happens to be on page 82.
What? That thing?
That was good. Which way to the gym?
We have fun, but you know what? We can crack jokes all we want.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a good book.
Because literally, think about it. All that is condensed in a very short. It's very awesome. Great freaking book, man.
Did you call me short?
There's all in John's crazy mind right here, and he put it all on pages for you too. In the end, it tells you how to get out of it.
Yeah.
The maze.
No, that's freaking great.
Maze. So I mean, it's always a choice. And with when it comes to emotions or anger or any emotion, but like we're talking about anger, there's many examples in life of people who like Anthony said, crimes of this, crimes of that. They go blank and they just act. And the reason that they do that is because they're not watching with the story in their head. Yeah. They're just believing the story in their head. So like you said before, right? Because you said, when you were younger that you didn't want to get to that point because you were scared of what you might do. The more you say that, the more that becomes a reality for you, meaning you're programming yourself to say, if I get to that point, I go blank. If I get to that point, I go blank. You know what's going to happen when you get to that point? Not only are you going to get there, but you're going to go blank. You're going to black out because my therapist, I love her to death. She always used to say, if you say it enough, or if you not believe it, but if you with no awareness keep saying something enough, if you
tell a lie enough at times, it becomes the truth.
It becomes the truth.
You manifest it.
That was from Goebbels.
Yeah.
That was from Goebbels in the Third Reich, just so you know.
You manifest it. So you bring it into fruition eventually because you keep saying, but this is the way I am.
Yeah.
But this is my luck. This is what happens to me.
Yeah.
This only happens to me. This only happens to me. So you know what? When shit happens to you, what do you expect?
No.
Because you're actually... you're setting that up to become your reality. So if you say, or if he says, or if I said, well, you don't want to take me to that point, because if you take me to that point, that's it. I'm gone.
No, analyzing this clinically.
Good movie.
Kind of like, that's good. Analyzing this clinically, kind of like how we're doing. We're just clinically giving a over the top view of a, let's say, any situation that can get you there. I can see how, because you mentioned this to me yesterday, I can see how this can apply. So we've been always talking about anxiety, depression, and OCD, but I can see the PTSD aspect of this.
Of course.
Because in reality, what triggered
when I said to you, you have a little bit of triggering PTSD from that situation. But it is.
You hit the nail on the head, because
we all have it somehow.
You bring up whatever happened, you bring up all that history, or and I could totally see how, by the way, I'm going to mention my PTSD is a little shore hotel compared to the skyscrapers of some people that have had military or
whatever,
or even police activity, or when you see shit, PTSD is more constant than the crap I got to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but the rule applies.
The rule applies, and the rule, by the way, whether it's this much or that much, it works the same. So now, if I say it's this much or I have that much, what are you actually doing? Oh, mine's more than you.
Right.
I have more than yours. And by the way, time out. That might be true, right? So I
think there's different levels of it. Absolutely.
So I'm saying that that might be true. Somebody might have had multiple different traumatic experiences that they've witnessed and gone through. I get that. That's absolutely true. But be wary of when you say, mine is different.
Yeah.
My anger is different than your anger.
The reason I mention that is only to say, because I don't ever want to, because I use the term PTSD, but when you think of that, you think of a prisoner of war. So imagine,
it's for any traumatic. Any traumatic experience could be the floods in Georgia. Right. You don't think those people who watch their house, God forbid, with their kids inside,
it rains outside, right? Their mind's going to go back to it.
Holy shit! Yeah,
it's just your mind's trying to protect you when it does that.
It's different kinds
bringing you to an area.
So in 6 years from now, there's another hurricane. They're going to be like, oh my God, another.
Or even strong winds, or the trees blow, and they may be like, here it comes again. Oh, that anxiety will come up. Yeah. Because what the PTSD does a lot of times is brings that anxiety.
It's just,
and there are different levels.
Basically, it bridges the now with
there's people who just have
the yesterday.
Yeah, and there's people who just have nightmares. All the way to the other side of the spectrum, where people shoot up a veterans hospital or something, which is they're so out of their mind that you can't convince them they're not in war anymore.
Yeah,
and they're in battle conditions every single minute of their life. So that's a different level than having a nightmare or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a whole different, like, that level is like almost psychosis.
I'm just trying to show that.
Yeah, but that level is almost like a psychosis at that point. They're not there anymore. It's almost like they're even at that point, they would need like heavy doses of awareness. Like they would need to work with somebody in a closed area for a while to kind of help them be able to get their awareness back so they could see actually what's happening.
Just another quick example. Like World War One, you ever see those videos of the guys who have what's called shell shock? Where they would just sit there in a chair and shake uncontrollably for hours.
Yeah. It's like shock.
And if you look in their eyes, and they call it the 1,000-yard stare, where they would just stare
right through you.
And that is a different level of somebody.
So that's a traumatic. That's like an immediate traumatic event, and that's just a nervous system response at that point.
I get it, but I'm just saying that's also post-traumatic stress, and that's a different level than, like I said, somebody who might have nightmares and things like that, or terrible memories.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah,
but to John's point, it all can be fixed the same way, except for those guys that are so far past.
But even those guys,
where their minds aren't even there anymore.
But even those guys probably can, but they just need they would need the right help.
I suppose there are people who listen. I've talked to people on bridges, and some of these people you can't even talk to. They're so far past, and that point, you can't get them back.
And the help that they need isn't going to be
if they're on a
bridge or something like that.
That is the bleeding edge. So
that's the cry for help.
Right.
So if you're still there when I get there.
Imagine that if you get there and they're on the bridge, that's the bleeding edge.
Yeah.
To reverse from there, to go back 1 yard is a struggle. To go back 2 yards, an even bigger struggle. Sure. I want to take this back 10 yards.
But you know what? Those people on the bridge, you know what they think? I'll tell you right now, they think there's no going back 10 yards.
Yeah.
That is the end for them. That everything is so screwed. There's no way it'll ever come back to normalcy.
Do you know how you get to that point?
Yeah, they tell themselves over and over.
They
convince themselves.
And they believe in because they have
the story.
No
and Henry
conscious awareness, and the story in their head feels so real. They don't realize that they're talking themselves into. So what I was saying before, you say it enough.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody on a bridge, whether it's somebody saying this is how I'm going to act, whether it's somebody saying you don't understand my anger is worse than your anger. If you say that story enough times, you will bring that story into fruition because you're creating that to become your reality.
And Officer Henry just pulling up as the new guy. Hey, I'm just meeting you the first time. Isn't going to convince that guy that, of the story he told himself.
No,
that, you're not going to convince him otherwise.
No, but
right. Yeah. Especially when he doesn't know you.
Yeah. What awareness is, you can never convince anybody of anything. It's something that they have to realize on their own. And those are unfortunate situations, and hopefully they end up,
they happen a lot, actually.
Yeah,
you just don't. Sometimes they're not even in the paper.
Hopefully they end up better, than not better, I guess. But
I got to tell you, somebody who did a lot of writing and speaking on a subject similar to this, and I loved everything he had to do. God damn me, the day I can't remember his freaking name, but the guy used to work for the FBI. And he was the #1 hostage negotiator in America. And he's written tons of books.
Who it is, yeah.
And he's from Kansas City, but he spent a lot of time at NYPD, a lot. With FBI, NYPD, and damn it. He has a real thick New York accent now, but he's from Kansas City.
Well, I can tell you who the guy I worked with. He was the lead. He started hostage negotiations, or the second guy who started with the NYPD. And he goes around the world now.
Where were you going with this?
Oh, I was going to that. He's fascinating to listen to because he explains negotiations, and he brings you into the psychology,
the mindset,
of when you're speaking to somebody who's lost. That's it. This is it.
There's a way to speak to them.
And he says, there's this identification, and there's this, and there's different levels, and there's
because of that, us in ESU, we went through psychological. It's called. EPT, emergency psychological training. And that is the art of talking to people who either won't open the door, who take hostages. They all have, or even EDPs, they all have that same sort of mindset. So talking to them is a little different, but it's kind of similar.
It's disarming.
It's gaining their trust.
Disarming the person, gaining their trust.
Yeah. But it's fascinating.
So
it really is.
But all those people don't get, they get there because why? Because like the point we started the episode when you guys are talking about the whole taking to the point of blacking out, because you say it enough, you believe it that's what
you're feeding the wolf.
You're feeding the wrong wolf.
Yeah, you're
feeding him. You're actually feeding the wolf, thinking it's a sheep. You think I'm aware.
Yeah.
Although it happens to you the first time, you don't see it coming. You're just like,
but I'm talking about
what the hell was that?
Yeah, once you've done this, once you've practiced this, and this is a world that you now, bask your life in, and
live in it.
You live in it. So now it's different. Now you have the ability to see that. Now, again, situations always arise, right? And every level of situation will be different. One might be a little bit more toxic person who pushes you a little bit harder. Could be somebody who you have triggering past memories with, which, brings you kind of from, you don't go 0, 1, 2, you go 0 to 7. You started at 7 with that person already, just because it just brings that out in you. But again, if you have that ability to stay aware, you don't go to the 10. You stay at that 7 where you were. You don't
turn into the Hulk.
No, you don't turn into the Hulk.
You just tell them you won't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah.
Or in pink shorts.
In pink shorts.
Green paint. Purple.
Green
paint. Purple shorts.
Yeah, it was purple.
With green hair. Love that guy.
That was Lou Ferrigno. Yeah.
It was the 80s. The one that we used to watch, right?
Yeah, Lou Ferrigno was probably the 80s.
It was the best one.
Fantastic.
Bill Bixby.
That's right.
Bigsby,
Bill Bixby.
Right? Bigsby.
Fantastic.
So that's the.
Yeah.
So it's choices.
No,
it's all choices. Our emotions are very complex, and we have two. I mean, we really have like, so the emotions you guys are talking about are emotions of reaction. Like something happens, a triggering emotion, an event, a situation, somebody's talking to you. Then you have emotions from mental, like you talk to yourself, mentally stimulated emotions by you talk yourself into a sad feeling, you talk yourself into an anger. Like you keep talking about, did this person say this? Did they say this? Did they say this? Did they say this? Oh my, and now here comes the story. Now I'm mad at that person. I'm pissed at that person. So you have these two sets of emotions, but both only escalate if you're not paying attention to them escalating. So the one where I'm sitting home going, I can't believe he said that to me. Fucking, who the hell was he to say that to me?
Here we go.
What the fuck? He actually,
Is
the nerve of that son of a, and now
rumination.
That's it. You ruminated it to or I can't believe she broke up with me. It's probably me. What did I do wrong?
I remember you saying those words.
Probably. Yeah, he's probably right.
Back in the day.
I probably did.
I might have heard that a couple hundred times.
I probably did because I was
no comment. Yeah,
because I was hype, super unaware.
Yeah.
But the physical, even and or the real world emotions. As actually, the funny part is one of the things I wanted to talk about today was emotions. I had a real life emotions and mind-made emotions. In real life emotions, same thing. You see. Point in case, I was upstairs talking with my family a couple of days ago, and a topic came up in conversation, and we started speaking about it. And it was something that was important to the family, so I kind of
got passionate.
I did get passionate. I sat at the table, I listened, and we started speaking. So I started giving a little feedback to everybody of kind of what I'm hearing and what's going on. And I don't want to get into it because it's personal stuff of people, but I saw myself when people were speaking and I'm like, wow, unaware. I'm hearing unaware comments from people. And I'm not trying to say I know better than them, but I'm hearing somebody who, and there was that thing in me to want to, right? And a couple times I got loud, but I got loud with intent, not with emotion. Like I got loud to, you want to make a point like, hey,
it's an Italian family. You're going to have to speak up.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
You're not getting a word out.
But it's like,
no one's going to hear you.
Hey, but you're saying that, hey, not out of anger or what the fuck. You're saying it out of,
Yeah, but how did they interpret it, though? I'm saying
it wasn't interpreted.
Could steer things if they don't interpret it correctly.
So I followed it up with, I say that because I acted like this because, I didn't just throw it out there and just like, hey, what is it? It was I did it with a conscious intent. I knew what I was doing, right? So I knew what I was doing, but it's that emotion's going to come up, right? It's natural. It's absolutely natural, but you could fly off the handle, lose it, or you could understand that it's there, use it properly. If that charge is needed to get a point across, you can use it, but you're not, you're using it. Like Anthony said, it's like the MMA fighter who says, I know I could strangle you right now. I know I can. I choose not to, even though you're being an asshole.
But now you approach me, okay, I'm going to strangle
you. Now you swing at me.
I gave you a chance.
Now you swing at me with a knife. So now I'm going to make you go night-night so you don't hurt anybody, right? And okay, that's fine. I mean, I get that. That's self-defense.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with this.
Yeah, but I think also, for anybody watching and for ourselves, this is very much like an AA style situation. It really is.
What step are we on?
7. This is very AA-ish because the more we help, the more we solidify. The more we do this show, the more we solidify. So the more you watch this show
I love that analogy. That's
the more you solidify. So it's basically the same thing you said about, hey, I don't like this. If I can go unconscious, well, the same thing can happen in reverse, where you watch the show, you partake in the show. So on this side of the camera and on that side of the camera, there's a lot to be, let's say, remembered, reminded. There's a lot to be reminded, a lot to be.
It's like a sponsor in AA. They actually benefit from helping the person.
That's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's no good fixing you. You have more respect for somebody else than you. So you know what? I'm going to fix you because I know in fixing you, I fix me. And that
fixing you solidifies what I'm fixing in me. Yeah.
I'm super simplifying. And I'm anybody out there who's done AA, sorry, but you kind of know what I'm talking about.
They understand
the concept.
They understand the concept,
and that's kind of what we're doing here, because
I think it's absolutely very similar to what
we have
here.
grown our chia pet of mindfulness, right? Oh, yeah, we've grown our chia pet of mindfulness.
My question is, why
hasn't grown at all since we got
why hasn't anyone else out there been doing more of this? Like,
they are.
Oh my God! Yeah, we are one of gazillions.
I
don't know about gazillions, but yeah.
If you go to
podcasts, people talk about this stuff. Yeah.
If you go to, and everybody's got their own twist on it. If you go to podcasts and you do mindfulness, you will find a slew.
So here's a big difference.
People, but people have different angles on it.
What's the different angles? Out of curiosity.
Here's one big one.
Yeah, go ahead.
One big one.
You jumped in. Go ahead.
Because
you got a good one.
It hits me right in the face.
Henry with his hand in the air. In the back. Go ahead.
So the one that hits me is that when we talk about mindfulness. We talk about mindfulness and how it applies in your life every day, right now, and everything you do.
Which is really how it applies.
Yes, and we're very matter of fact. As I said back when we first started, we are the corner store that offers mindfulness right down the block.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are. That's where you'll find us. It's like, and I'm not knocking I'm not knocking anybody. I'm simply saying these are our styles. And I saw it a lot when we went to see Eckhart in person. A lot of people in the mindfulness space basically act like they're floating. So they act like
yoga,
very
zen.
Very zen.
What do you mean, Henry?
It's no, man. It's almost like they don't live a real life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's their life. Like they float. All you hear is
That's probably why all the monks stick together.
The spa music in the background, you know what I mean? That's
why they have those temples where they all live together.
Monasteries.
And they even
monastery.
And they even change, but they even change the affect on their voice to be soft. And we're talking.
So they've taken an identity, which Eckhart would tell them: the ego has become mindful. It thinks the ego is taking a mindfulness identity.
So I'm not raising or lowering. I'm simply saying that is a big difference of what we do and what I've seen a lot of mindfulness channels out there. Meaning, mindfulness.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Henry. He was giving.
So I'm
not saying anything bad, but he was jumping in, and I lost track of where you were.
I'll go straight to the point. So if you were to search on Google or YouTube or on your favorite podcast, whatever, and you look for mindfulness podcasts. A lot of those podcasts, if I'm not going to say all because that would be just stupid of me, but a good amount. It's like the people that are doing the show are floating, and they're speaking with a very soft water trickle in the background, and they put an affect on their voice, which is very calming and soothing. And it's not you. You don't speak like that. When the microphone's off, you don't speak like that. So why are you speaking like that?
Are they like particularly to help people sleep or something like that? Like why are they talking like that? I'm curious.
I think a part of it. Again, I saw this in person at the Eckhart thing, and I'm like, I'm telling John, like,
how many people were there? Out of curiosity, just
600.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So you got people that put on this affect on their voice. And a little bit like you hear the birds and the whistles.
And that's their take on mindfulness.
You're right. And he said it best. It's almost like, well, that's the cloak you put on.
Yeah, but what's the real work being done in the background?
So what I think is different from us is like we are
applying it to everyday things.
Like, we'll curse. Not that we choose to curse, but we know once in a while we'll let one slip. In the sense
regular
we're real, regular people. And we're talking in a real voice. And this is our real voice. Yeah. And this is our real life. And we share everything on the show in reality. And, we don't have a fake sugary coating, a fake candy shell to the show. You know what I mean?
Like you could sit here and watch John scroll through some emails.
No, he's on emails. He's a podcast.
Well, podcast.
I'm actually looking up Mindful Pot while you guys are talking. I was looking up just out of curiosity.
And by the way, no knock on anybody. But
no, I think you're being respectful.
For me, I'm just speaking for myself. When I'm speaking to somebody and they have that affect on their voice,
you're done.
It's not that I'm done, but
check out.
it's just I want you. I don't want I want you. I don't want the regular whoever is real behind there. You know what I mean? Like I don't
You want the anime. You want the real thing.
A lot of that could be just trying to,
be nice,
be more zen, or give the illusion of more zen.
Illusion of zen.
Yeah.
Like Eckhart says, Zen isn't a thing. Zen is there's no obtaining Zen. You don't obtain Zen, but you don't obtain enlightenment. It's not something to be obtained. Once you realize there's something to be obtained, it all stops.
Didn't you get the impression that we were a little different from the crowd?
But we are very different
from that crowd.
Yes.
What was the crowd?
He used to always say we're like the corner store selling mindfulness.
Yeah, it's almost like we were a little different from the crowd, where everybody was like trying to be all above and heady, and I'm like, okay, I mean, everybody has their own journey, so
and there's nothing
you do you. I'm not gonna, but I'm just making an observation, and my observation is that I could be mindful without having to be an affect on my voice which soothes you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So I think that's where we come in, and we're relatable. Because we're not.
That's one of the biggest things I've heard about our show.
Right. So we're relatable. We're not. Do
they have a lot of viewers? A lot of these people? Out of curiosity, I'm wondering if
I don't look. I've never. I mean, you can probably look at the.
I'm wondering if people find that
the metrics. You could probably look at the metrics and find out.
You know what happens? I think, Anthony, is that we're a very real, like nitty gritty show. It's not like we've been picked up by, Sirius XM.
No, we flipped on 3 mics and we're just with 3 guys just talking.
Right. And it's not like, you have mega millions behind you and they're going to make a commercial entity of you. So you have a good candy shell. Like your show opens up and welcome to the world of, and there's none of that. And, it's just 3 guys talking about whatever it is we talk about of the day.
But I like that.
What do you think took Rogan to where he is?
Because he's a regular dude.
And I'm not comparing that. I'm simply saying Rogan reached his level because he's just a regular curious guy.
That was it. Curious, asks questions about things, and
he's not stupid. Mm-hmm. Because it's one thing if I'm curious, but then when you give me the answer, I don't poke you anymore. But let me ask you about that answer.
Yeah. He really engages, and there's some things he engages on, which I'm surprised he does, like UFO stuff. And I'm like, I didn't think he was that versed in it, but he actually. He goes at it with them, and I think, back and forth.
I think that people that are watching feel that and see that, and you're like, you know what? I like them because they're real,
because he sounds like me. He sounds like the questions I would ask.
I like them because they're real. You know what? They have a New York accent. Holy shit, I can relate. I'm from the area. Yeah.
It helps that he's pretty funny too.
Yeah,
he is a comedian.
But no, I was talking about you. Well, you guys have the New York accent.
Yeah, I'm just who me? No, I don't.
There should be a translation on what we're saying.
By the way, when they say axe, they mean ask.
Yes.
Just so you know.
No, I meant axe.
But yeah,
I was just that's for anybody who was watching thinking, why is this mindful guy scrolling on his phone? Like they said, I was just looking up different podcasts. I was
giving you an out, pal.
And there's tons. There are tons and tons of podcasts out there. And I've actually listened to, I don't say a lot of them, but a decent amount of them. I like to listen into other ones. A lot of them is just one person and they interview somebody every week, right? They bring somebody else on. It's very few have multiple people who do mindfulness podcasts. Like when I would say we're probably one of a handful. Like Two Wolves is another one I used to listen to. I think I sent it to you once.
Oh, really?
Which one do you feed?
Yeah, and it's named Two Wolves?
Yeah, and there's Two Wolves.
Cool. I like
and I've listened to a bunch of theirs because they kind of... And they have multiple people, like 2 people, and they bring a third on. That. 2 people, they bring a third. Yeah. So it's a different dynamic. And they have some really cool topics sometimes. But most of them are one person, like you were saying, just kind of doing their thing. But yeah, I guess that's what makes us a little...
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you, between your practice of tuning in every week to watch the new episode, and you hear it and you listen, you just let it play, and you kind of engage with thoughts that are being provoked by the topic that we're discussing, and then you see yourself in that situation, just that act alone raises your level of awareness.
Sure. I mean, I can go all Zen, but I mean...
And so can I.
Yeah, I could 100%, like I could talk Zen for an hour.
I can't do. I can go Zen, but I cannot sit here and talk to anybody.
I would have to consciously do it.
Yeah,
but I
would
could
have
do
to.
it.
That's not me.
And so I
You know
would.
what I mean?
So the way I do it is I mirror the person I'm speaking with.
Good. Yeah.
So if the person I'm speaking with
Is there?
is not going to follow Zen, I try not to get to, I try to be a little bit more very relatable. If the person I'm speaking to has a background and understands it, then my speech pattern, my mannerisms, even my cadence changes a little bit more. I could get softer when I speak to somebody. It depends. Depends on the person. Yeah. If the person's they talk slow and I can slow it down with them.
But that's the coach in you.
Which I don't do.
That's the coach in me. It's the coach in you because we're not coaching anybody. We're going to tell you. We're going to talk to you.
Yeah, we don't coach on this show. We're just
But that's what makes you a good coach.
When I'm one-on-one, I become more of a coach than I do like what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's the trick. Well, one of the tricks.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. That is what makes us different. I don't know how we ended up there, but it does make us different. That's a good observation.
Yeah.
Cool beads, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that was one of the main things. And so, your viewership of the show, any engagement with it, and then us doing it here on this side of the camera, I can't tell you. For me, I know for
cathartic. It's cathartic.
I mean, it's almost like if somebody says everybody has a boys group, they just hang out once a week. The guys get together, they play cards, and just hang out. This is our. Usually
smoke a cigar right before.
Yeah, no, it is. In a way, it is. Yeah, in a way, it is.
And it's very healthy.
But like you said before, it's for when I do this. When I talk to somebody, whenever I'm doing it, for me, I'm using that person as a teacher. I'm learning because of that person. So I use if I'm encountered by somebody who I need to. This will segue back into the beginning of the show when we were having somebody who's poking and prodding me or trying to trigger me. I use that person I make that person my teacher. Not that I want to learn from them, but I'm learning because of them. So I use them as a way to learn. So if somebody's poking and prodding me, here's an opportunity. How many times have I said this? Opportunity for me to go back to work and to practice what I preach. Something happens in my life, time to practice. Whenever I would have triggering thoughts, first thing I would say to myself, back to work, time to practice. And I would just practice. I would practice awareness. And it works. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. And it works. Yeah. So if somebody's trying to trigger me, even if they get me to that point, as I'm getting to that point, I'm using that person as a way to learn, not learn more knowledge, to practice this, to practice. Yeah. And I practice even more intensely at that moment because somebody's coming at me or whatever. But
well, I can tell you through the years, as somebody who has been on this side of the conversation with you,
you never let me down.
You have mastered an art that is difficult to explain, because I can sit down with you, and maybe it's not because you know me so much.
A lot of people might not say that.
No, maybe it's because you know me and I don't know that, or maybe it's because you're that relatable, you're that good. You weren't like this before, but as the years went on, the act of when you speak to somebody has gotten so pencil sharp focused, laser focused. Let me explain to you.
Yeah.
So you came to me with an issue.
Yeah. Oh, which time?
And I didn't know. No,
the last time.
Recently.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to help you. All I knew was I wanted to help you. That's all I wanted. You know you want to help, but then you know the how. And fuck, like that's special. Like,
so a lot of that is but it's the person who's sitting across from you. So if I'm sitting across from somebody who's asking for help but doesn't really want to be helped, like, so how do I do? I don't understand. This sucks. Okay, and you give them an insight. No, but you don't understand, and you give them another insight. But so it only seems, I don't want to use profound, but it seems like, wow, you really get it when the person on the other end is willing to listen and hear and wants to get it. Then all of a sudden the words they resonate. They like echo. They resonate with you. But if the person on the other end is like, make it go away, make it go away, make it stop. That's
because we hung
John,
out.
you know.
Were you like that in the beginning though?
You're no help. No. So I never. No. So when I went to my therapist, I went there.
That was the last one you went to.
No.
How many did you go through?
The first one I went to, just two. The first one I went to, he was a nice guy, just didn't do a good job trying to diagnose what I was dealing with. So he took me on a lot of journeys off the beaten path. Like we went on a trip here, we went on a trip. They went on a lot of trips, but we never like got back on the road we should have been on. But a nice guy, like he wasn't trying to. Right. All right, and he kind of he did misdiagnose me, but it's because he didn't have that awareness to realize it. Then when I met Dr. Tatiana, it was different. You know, she kind of got it. But when I got into her office, it wasn't make this stop. It was, what do we need to do? My thing was, what do we need to do? I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. I get a little bit. I read Eckhart's book already. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know Eckhart Tolle. I'm like, I know Dr. Stephen Hayes. I've done a little bit of research on that. I go, I kind of get a little bit of this. I go, what? And I was still, don't get me wrong, I went in there. I was like, I was a shaking mess. My heart was racing. I was sweating. Weight was falling off, even no matter how much food I was eating. What do we need to do? How do we do this? She goes, I will point, but you got to go. I was like, I'll go. I had a determination and a willingness. I had a willingness to say, that way.
Yeah.
But that way is going to suck. I know. But so does this way. Right. So I'm going to try that way because this way sucks. Yeah, and then on the way, I realized that it didn't suck. I just thought it sucked. I believed that it sucked.
Yeah. Awesome.
No, that's awesome. It's a great skill you fucking developed.
It's a great skill. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here because it is a great skill and it's something I want to learn.
Yeah, the only skill I could say that I developed was a listening skill.
Here? With us?
As a listener,
Oh, well, that's what you develop that listening skill because you stop listening to the voice in your head and you start listening to the person. You stop, and we all.
You're right. You're right. Stop listening to the voice in your head and listen to somebody else who's making sense.
Yeah, as people in a discussion, you always have a thought. You want to get your thought in. I get that. Like we all do that. We all kind of jump in on each other, and that's just the cadence of the show. But like if you're talking to somebody, it's okay. I will. And in the beginning, my daughter used to call me out. She goes, "Let me finish." This is like I'm going a few years back.
I was gonna say that you got to let somebody finish their. What? Yeah, I'm trying to say is.
Yeah, you got to let somebody finish their thought.
And you also have to try to understand their position of where they're coming from,
of course,
and not shut it down.
No.
And then when they're done, go. Let me show you how to get out of this.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna take your hand. I understand. Now you've told me everything. Okay, now we can move.
Yeah.
But, like what happened with your daughter, you can't just, wait, hold on. It's all the same. Let me show you how to fix it. No. Let her finish her, you know what I mean? Because I think that's important too.
Absolutely. That's why she called
part of the process.
It wasn't even something to do with mindfulness. It was just whatever.
Yeah.
And I realized at that moment, I was like, fuck, she's right.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I said, I will do better. I will try better.
And you do. You listen a lot better now than I honestly, you'll see John, if you're talking to him or something, he wants to jump in sometimes.
Of course,
and he'll just sit back and let you finish. So that must have been a lesson.
I have dialogue sometimes when people are talking in my head.
He's not letting me finish now, but hey.
But this isn't.
Listen, it was an instant example. That's all I'm saying.
No, he's a dick.
No,
just so happened you cut me off right there.
My entire family, my wife and my kids have all pointed that out to me, where I wouldn't let them finish.
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing.
So now
I do. I know I do. But it's because I forget the thought. I'm like, I got to spit this out right now.
Yeah. So I think I've gotten better. I definitely have made a very conscious effort.
Can I tell you why I know, and I'm sure why all three of us have had that propensity to do that.
Need to jump in
because we want to help.
Yeah,
it's a need to want to solve the person's problem. One thing I learned in coaching: you're not there to solve their problem. They're there to solve their problem. You're there to ask the right questions so they figure out how to solve their problem.
See, that's insane.
And I was like, "Fucker!" That's one of the best things I learned in coaching. My coaching is you're not there to solve the problem. And I'm like, and that's right. And I kind of knew that, but I'm like, and then when I saw the technique unfold, I'm like, absolutely true.
Men are problem solvers. It's just instantly we want to get to the solution and move on.
Yeah. And there are certain things. The door doesn't close. Okay, let me fix the fuck. I'm not going to fix the door. Door, why don't you close? Door, is there a problem? Door, what can I do to help you?
I've seen you do that, John. It's not comfortable.
You make everybody in the room
you make everybody weird about it, John. Stop talking to doors.
I've been talking to doors my whole life.
All right.
Now I talk to dogs. All right.
We're landing this plane.
Let's land it.
I thought it crashed like 10 minutes ago.
I thought it was awesome.
As Eckhart says, the train crashes at the end for everybody. Nobody gets off.
True that.
All right. So I'm good. Are you guys good? I'm good.
Rippity rap.
Thank you, everyone.
Rappity rip. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for coming out, listening on, checking in, subscribe, hit like, do all the work, spread the word. If anybody needs any help, absolutely send them our way. I think the show has a lot of benefits for people. So,
sure. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Peace and love to everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace. Peace and love.
The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.